Good morning, everyone. Starting off here at Indian Grave Gap, going north, and yes, that is what you think it is. That is snow. It is funny when Steve had brought me up here to do that section going back before yesterday, the huge day of precipitation that I took the 0 on. I had mentioned to him and a couple other people, like, yeah, I have not seen snow since I've been out here. I don't really want a bunch of snow, but I would not mind a little dusting. That would be pretty cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I got my dusting. It's pretty cool. So it's going to warm up a little bit today, but not much. It'll be pretty much in the 30s and down to 20s at night. Over the next couple of days, going to warm up. So this is going to be the tough day and tough night, and then tomorrow be a little bit warmer, but still pretty cold. So this will be the toughest because it's definitely going over several high mountains. But you could be really careful. Right now, it just seems to be some snow flurries and dusting. That doesn't need to be ice or anything, but we'll see what happens as we go higher. But sure is beautiful out here right now. So it's about 33, 34 up here right now, just a little bit above freezing. At the gap, obviously I'm going higher, so that will probably get a little bit cooler, but checking the weather this morning before coming up here, it looked like it was about 5 degrees less up here than it was down below, like only 1,700 feet of elevation. So not too much cooler. Like I said, it's going to get cold tonight and the next night up here high in the mountains, because I'll be going through Beauty Spot, Unaka, Iron Mountain, and then the Rowans, and they just keep getting higher up in the 6,000 range. So definitely will get cooler up, you know, the higher we get. About 4,000 right now is where I'm at. A little less than that, actually, probably 3,700, something like that. But man, it's so beautiful. I'm so glad I'm getting to see this and hike through some of this. I mean, I did start in winter. I should have to see some snow. And this is like the perfect amount for me. I like just, you know, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch. Just enough for a little dusting. Still falling a little bit, but it's going to be warming up, so it's not sticking. It's going to be sticking, or, you know, have to post hole or anything like that going through it. But it's funny, and I've never really understood this about myself. I seem to be warmer when it's like close to this temperature than I do when it's in the 40s, like low 40s. Never understood that, because obviously the low 40s is warmer temperatures. But for some reason, this is just kind of comfortable to me. I mean, I still have my gloves on, my thin pair of gloves, and, you know, only 3 layers, not 4 layers. I don't have my puffy on. And I'm like starting to sweat a little bit, so I don't want to sweat, that's for sure. You don't want to start sweating in these cold temperatures, but definitely seem warmer, and I never have understood that. But the good thing is there's not much wind right now. And I hope that stays true all day, even on top of the summits, because that's my kryptonite when it's cold and windy. This is perfect. I'd rather have this snow than a little bit of drizzle that was falling down below. Doesn't tend to get quite as wet. So hopefully that stays the case until all of the moisture is gone for the day, and it either, you know, dries out or start getting sunny. Sunny is what I prefer, but I am absolutely loving this snow. Beautiful. Takes a whole new dynamic to the trees and everything. Looks foggy in the distance, so I don't know if there'll be any views from Beauty Spot. Not that far from it now, the summit. So we'll see what we see, and then we'll continue on. But got a lot of summits coming up in the next day or two, so be putting a lot of things in the bag and hopefully a lot of views as well. Stopped and took my blue fleece outer layer off. Once I put this rain jacket on, it's getting really warm. Obviously sweaty because I'm getting warm and climbing. Not a good combination when it's cold, but the snow is actually kind of a wet snow right now, so it shows it's, you know, a little bit above freezing, and so obviously it gets wet as it falls. So I thought it'd be better to put on my rain jacket. Still climbing up Beauty Spot here, and want to be as safe as I can. Man, it's tough with the clothes sometimes because the cold temperatures, the rain or the snow, hard to determine what you want to put on, because obviously the rain jacket doesn't breathe, so it holds in all that heat and moisture, so you start sweating more. So I took that off, but still continuing on in this magical winter wonderland. It's looking beautiful. Getting close to the top, the summit here of Beauty Spot. And continuing on after that, see what today brings. The higher you go, the more snow there is. I'd say half an inch to an inch right now, and it's covering the trail pretty good, so it makes it a bit tougher to know where the trail is at times, but it's never too bad. Like if you could see that tree right up there, there's a white blaze, so that definitely helps follow the trail. But yeah, the trail seems to be the last thing to get covered, probably because, you know, it's a little lower than the ground a lot of times, so, or the rest of the ground, so it you can at least see the shape of it. Even if it's covered, it just has a smoother look and everything. But sometimes it goes and turns, and there might be something that looks like a side trail or something. You're not sure exactly, and those white blazes definitely come in handy. But also got the navigation as well, the maps to look at to make sure, you know, I'm staying on trail and everything. But definitely more snow up here, getting close to about 4,500 I think. I'll let you know for sure when I get to the summit. Here I am on the summit of Beauty Spot Mountain. It's supposed to be even better views than Big Bald Mountain, from what I've been told. But it's pretty much the same views right now for me as it was on Big Bald, except the beautiful snow and the beautiful ice that's on the trees. Feels like it might be freezing rain right now instead of snow. You can definitely feel it in my beard and on my clothes. But thankfully it hasn't been that high of winds today, so that's a good thing. But you can't see the great views, but you can definitely see the beautiful snow. And it's gorgeous. Love it. But Beauty Spot Mountain is in the bag. So I don't want to really say coming down from Beauty Spot. It only went down like 100 feet. And now I'm climbing again. And by the way, Beauty Spot was about 4,500 feet of elevation. So close to 1,000, maybe a little more than 1,000, more than where started from the gap this morning. Oh, it's so beautiful. Look at that, the rocks. Slippery probably, but with fresh snow, it packs pretty good. So it's not, I haven't really ran into too many slippery spots yet. But the next summit is Unwanted. And this is the one that's supposed to go through a really beautiful forest. But it's about 2.5 miles up, 1,200 of elevation. So continuing on, and that's going to be right around 5,200 total, I believe. I don't know, that math doesn't sound right in my head, but it's about 1,200 of elevation from here. Oh, that's right, because it drops 300 or 400 during that time too. So it's a net of like 800. But 5,300 of elevation at the top of Unwanted. And I believe it goes a little bit down after that, but I'm surprised it's actually still snowing. It's like 9:30 in the morning. And it's supposed to, precipitation kind of done by 9, but obviously the weather doesn't always look at the weather report to know what it's supposed to do. So it will stop when it stops. And, you know, I'm sure at some point today, it'll be some dry hiking, weather-wise, not necessarily on the ground. I don't know if it's going to get enough above freezing for this to start melting today, but here in the next day or two it will. But right now, I'm probably walking through, yeah, 1/2 inch on the trail. There are some spots it looks like almost a whole inch off the trail, but not too bad yet. The wind hasn't been that bad today either, so that's a good thing. But it's still looking beautiful out here. Woo! Oh, God, really? So I don't want to really say coming down from Beauty Spot. It only went down like 100 feet. And now I'm climbing again. And by the way, Beauty Spot was about 4,500 feet of elevation. So close to 1,000, maybe a little more than 1,000, more than where started from the gap this morning. Oh, it's so beautiful. Look at that, the rocks. Slippery probably, but with fresh snow, it packs pretty good. So it's not, I haven't really ran into too many slippery spots yet. But the next summit is Unwanted. And this is the one that's supposed to go through a really beautiful forest. But it's about 2.5 miles up, 1,200 of elevation. So continuing on, and that's going to be right around 5,200 total, I believe. I don't know, that math doesn't sound right in my head, but it's about 1,200 of elevation from here. Oh, that's right, because it drops 300 or 400 during that time too. So it's a net of like 800. But 5,300 of elevation at the top of Unwanted. And I believe it goes a little bit down after that, but I'm surprised it's actually still snowing. It's like 9:30 in the morning. And it's supposed to, precipitation kind of done by 9, but obviously the weather doesn't always look at the weather report to know what it's supposed to do. So it will stop when it stops. And, you know, I'm sure at some point today, it'll be some dry hiking, weather-wise, not necessarily on the ground. I don't know if it's going to get enough above freezing for this to start melting today, but here in the next day or two it will. But right now, I'm probably walking through, yeah, 1/2 inch on the trail. There are some spots it looks like almost a whole inch off the trail, but not too bad yet. The wind hasn't been that bad today either, so that's a good thing. But it's still looking beautiful out here. Woo! Just seeing that snow fall so gently. The green in the background. Such a beautiful sight. Not quite as nice as Hawaii, but nonetheless, it's still not a bad sight at all. Came out of the wooded area, came to this open area. Looks like a big farm field. And this is giving me flashbacks of being raised in the Indiana and Ohio region. The snow the farm looking field in the winter with the blowing snow in the background. The reason I moved to Florida as soon as I graduated school. At least it's not as cold as I remember some of those temperatures getting. Oh my goodness, 0 and -20. Not as bad as the Dakotas and Minnesota, but living on the west side basically of Lake Erie growing up, it got our fair share of snow. Nothing like Cleveland and Buffalo and everything on the other side with the lake effect, but got those frigid, cold, and windy temperatures. It's kind of funny that I'm seeing this on top of a mountain, or on top of the mountains, not actually on a summit here, kind of in between summits, but it definitely bringing back some memories. Still climbing here to Unaka summit. Snow's pretty much the same depth right now, like 1/2 an inch to an inch in places. A little more steep, some stones. Only time it's been a little slippery is like going on a steep descension where I slide a little. I mean, don't fall or anything. So I just got to take that nice and slow. I don't know why, but that precipitation is still coming down. It almost feels like sleet or a mix versus just snow. Kind of stingy. Wind is picked up in certain areas. Hoping the wind dies down. Hoping the precipitation stops. My beard is frozen. But yeah, not too bad out here. Could be much worse. And just slight bit of snow, nothing too slippery. Right here is a little slush and ice over probably a little water runoff or something. Trying to avoid those big puddles, keep my feet as dry as possible. But still not too bad. Just climbing up, conquering these mountains, seeing where the day brings me. I just spoke to a local. They told me it's Unaka, not Unaka. So hopefully I haven't been saying that wrong, but I've heard other locals call it Unaka, so I don't know. But it's either Unaka or Unaka. Tomato, tomato. Appalachian. It's just more than one way to say words, apparently, depending on where you're from. I don't know. But I hope I didn't offend anyone if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. Unaka. Still climbing Unaka here. It looks like the precipitation has stopped for a little bit, so it's about 80 degrees now. No, I'm joking. Still pretty darn cold, but nowhere near as cold as it was the other day. At least it doesn't feel like it. My beard wasn't frozen the other day, but it wasn't snowing on my beard. It's just that wind is what drives right through me, and it's not too windy now. There's certain areas that the wind has picked up. It might pick up a little bit on top of the summit here, but as of right now, not too much wind at all. There's these beautiful trees, pines or spruces or evergreens, whatever they are. Looks beautiful. Look at that. Yeah. here is this section, I guess, coming up to the summit that is like the beautiful enchanted forest. I'm loving it. A lot more evergreen, spruces, pines, whatever they are. Trees with needles. It is gorgeous. This reminds me a lot of Oregon right here in Washington. Oh yeah, look at that. That's beautiful. Oh man. That's my kind of forest right there. Woo! Yeah, baby. So standing here in this beautiful, enchanted looking forest, which is the summit of Unaka Mountain. It is beautiful. One of a kind looking summit when you get to the top, and it has these kind of trees which are completely different than any other mountain I've been on in the Appalachian Trail, except maybe one small section coming up to Klingman's Dome, but this is that enchanted looking forest for sure. And I'm at the summit, Unaka Mountain, whichever is the correct way, is in the bag. It's the first time for a while you can actually see the trail. Starting to go down a little bit, obviously from the summit. Been climbing pretty much all day, so what goes up must come down. I don't know if it's just because there's a little water here in the trail, or if it's because the temperature's a little lower down here, so things aren't sticking as bad or as much on the trail. It still looks like just about as much snow on the side, so it might just be because that certain part is wet and it didn't stick as well. But they're going to be going down quite a bit before starting to climb the next summit here, so it should probably be a little more melty. It looks like it's melting kind of right now. It's definitely stopped falling precipitation. It's getting brighter out, like maybe the sun is trying to break through the clouds, so we'll see what happens. Might end up being a little bit sunny. It's not going to get too much warmer today. I think mid-30s up here in the mountains, 5,000-6,000 up. So we'll see what happens with that. But nonetheless, this is beautiful. This section here has a lot of rhododendron. I think I'm saying that correctly. You can see these beautiful leaves and green with the snow on them. There for about a quarter or half a mile, something like that. It was just hanging really low over the trail, and you couldn't really go left or right to get around it. You kind of had to duck under it. And some of it I just wasn't, I can't just like crawl on my knees right now. So see how this is? That's actually really high compared to what some of it was, and I could go around that one. A lot of it I haven't been able to go around. and then I try to go underneath it, it flicks me in the face or in the hair, or I get under it and my backpack catches it and flicks it on me anyway. So, or on my neck. It's even worse when it goes like in your neck and then down your shirt. Oh man, I remember that as a kid. I hated that feeling. Sledding down hills, all of a sudden a bunch of snow goes up your shirt or down your shirt. Oh, it's the worst. But anyway, a little section there that was, you know, sometimes when you're tall, you have to do a lot of this out here, walking underneath it. But not that bad. See, like right there, had to walk underneath a little bit, but it's no big deal. I mean, it's no big deal at all. I'm just telling you what the trail's like. That would have been a section, though, that even a 3-foot tall person would have had problems with. Some of that was really hanging low. I don't know if the trees were falling over or if they just hung that low, but here's another one. It just hangs really low, and you kind of got to go under it. Not much choice because it covers the whole trail, but again, that one wasn't too low, so not that bad. And kind of past that section now, but it's funny. I kept getting flicked with snow and like, snow's everywhere right now, though. Not real deep, but it definitely has a nice covering everywhere. And I'm glad to see it. I mean, I'm happy about everything on this trail, but definitely happy to be able to get to walk through a little snow. It might be the last time I get to walk through snow on this trail this year. It's been a pretty mild winter, from what I've understood from the locals, and got a good little inch or so out here to be able to walk through and see the beautiful pines and trees and rhododendrons and the stones and the trail itself just covered in that beautiful dusting of the white stuff. So it's going to start melting off here. Not today probably, but starting tomorrow. It's going to start melting off pretty quick for the next couple days. So continuing on, I'll quit rambling now. Had to put my sunglasses on. The sun started busting through the clouds a little bit, and it's obviously getting brighter out here even without the sun, but that sun coming off the snow, that gets pretty bright. But when I was getting my sunglasses out, I noticed something. Obviously, my beard has been frozen for quite some time, pretty much since the beginning of today. But then I noticed this. This cord right here is completely soft and thawed out. This one, it's frozen. Not really sure why, unless that's the side freezing rain was coming from, and it was only hitting that side when, you know, it turned from snow to slush or freezing rain. Man, it doesn't even feel like it's below freezing though, so I'm not sure if it is below freezing or not. It feels like it's in the mid-30s, but it hasn't thawed out yet. Neither has my beard, so I don't know. Hopefully that sun will come out and do a little thawing today, because I want to be completely dry by the time it's bedtime tonight. It's still white. The sun never came out. It just shone for that little tiny bit, and never happened again. Boy, about 10 miles in today, I think, maybe a little more. And let's see, stopped and got some water, had a running creek, and got a little snack, not really lunch, at a shelter before going on. And besides that, I'm just hiking up and down mountains. Let's see, there's a view coming up, and then after that, I believe it's Iron Mountain Gap, before I start climbing again. Before I climb those big mountains, ones get up to about 6,000. Don't know how far I'll end up going today. It's just going to really depend on where I end up setting up camp, and you know, kind of where everything is. I don't really want to camp 6,000 feet up in the icy cold snow, but figure that out here in a few minutes. Right now, just continuing on. You can see this nice view. Hopefully it's open up enough to see it, because it's going to be beautiful if it is. Oh, actually, if you look up there, that sky's opened up a little bit. Here it's pretty cloudy everywhere, but the view of the forest I'm walking through is gorgeous, like it has been all day. A little bit wet right now, not too bad. I've been trying to avoid that as much as possible today, but yeah, I stepped in a couple that ended up having some water underneath it, got me a little wet, but I have dry socks to change into, and I only have one pair of gloves on. I don't have, these are just basically the water wicking underlying gloves, so my actual warm gloves I haven't even needed, so I could put those on, obviously, later on too. So as of right now, I'm doing good on moisture and cold, and, you know, making sure I don't, not unsafe or anything. I don't want to, obviously, screw around with hypothermia or anything like that, but the breeze kicked up for a minute, not too bad right now. I don't even feel it here on this side of this mountain, so hopefully it stays like that, because that's what I don't like to feel is that when, you know, already cold and damp. But I think we're going to be in good shape. Just got to determine where I'm camping tonight and go from there. So stay tuned. So right there, that mountain, I don't know if you could see the details of the evergreens and firs and pine, whatever it might be, spruce. So unlimited are the choices, but I don't know which one. But that is Unaka, or Unaka, whichever way is correct. I guess I'm going to say it both ways from here on out. But that is what that is. So it came all the way down to here. Now I'm climbing again. But it's awesome to look back at those and see, wow, I came from there. Nice. But very snowy everywhere. Going to be some, I was hoping this would open up so I get a better view of it, but it's been pretty closed in the whole time. And I know the next view that comes by is actually heading north, or looking north. So take a look at that when we get over there. But this is basically the 360 view of where I am right now. Climbing up again. There's the trail. Climbs up there. Alrighty, let's go look at this view. I believe that's looking west. And as you can see, those mountains over there don't have much snow on them at all, if any. So they must be quite a bit lower than where I am right now. But maybe only a couple thousand feet or something. But I don't know, maybe that side just didn't get much moisture. Who knows? But it still looks beautiful. And still heading up to this view, looking to the north. There's a nice opening in the trees. Nice view. These mountains are definitely not north. This is definitely more west. But you could see there's no snow on any of that, so they're much lower than where I am. And at the very moment, I'm about 4,500, maybe 5. But over here is north. Because you could see those coming up through some trees, and definitely some high ones. You could see the Roan Highlands, I believe, from here. You could definitely see some really high ones that are definitely snow covered like this, so except higher. So that's the direction I'm going. As you can see, right here's a trail. It kind of wraps around and goes around over here. That's heading north. So over there is north. This is definitely west, and definitely lower than where we are at the moment. Well, where I am and where you're seeing. But still is beautiful. Right there is a view of north. So you can see that's all snow covered there. And then that big one in the distance, I don't know exactly which mountain that is, but I believe that's part of the Roan Highlands. Several different balds in that area, so that's probably one of those. But over here was the area, was the opening. So definitely more west, maybe like a northwest, but still more west. This is north, because the mountains keep getting bigger. That's what was throwing me off, is that you know, north is mountains getting higher by another 1,000 from where I am right now, or 1,500 from where I am, because I have dropped a little bit. So I knew those weren't north, but this is definitely north right there, and that's where we're headed to. So climbing up Iron Mountain right now. Almost said Roan. Climbing up Iron Mountain right now. Just went through Iron Mountain Gap a little bit ago, 5-10 minutes ago. I think it's about 1,100 or so more in elevation from the gap, so probably about 900 or so left. And just climbing this up, conquer another mountain, and then I'm going to be setting up camp not too long after that as I start to go down to lower elevation. I actually thought about night hiking all night long tonight, going about 40 or 50 miles, just because it's going to get so cold tonight. This is going to be the coldest of the nights. Thought, man, if I just keep moving, I won't get, so cold. But it's not really calling for any wind or anything, and the wind hasn't been bad all day. Just a couple times the wind sneaked around and got a little chilly. But that's why I figured once I go down, I'll be back down to 4,500 or so elevation. It'll be a nice place to set up camp for the night. And I can always get up and start hiking if it gets too cold. But otherwise, I'll just set up camp and eat some hot food and get an early start tomorrow, and hopefully be able to take advantage of that extra hour in the evening of sunlight tomorrow night, because it's supposed to be nice and clear and sunny. I'm sure some of the snow will start melting off, and just incrementally getting warmer after that for the next couple days. I think 2 or 3 days from now, calling for some rain, but more mild temperatures. So we'll see what happens, but that's kind of the loose plan here. Climb Iron Mountain, conquer it, and then set up camp and call it a day. But we'll see what happens. Could always change. Wow, that is just gorgeous right there. That mud is slippery. Lean on me when you're not strong. Getting closer to that one that I showed you earlier, that I showed you the north side, the North Mountain. So that was the big one in the back side. So getting much closer to that. Looks like I'll probably be crossing over that one tomorrow. That's a beauty. Not a whole lot of views right here, except the beautiful snow and winter wonderland. But over there, you can see a little bit of mountain. And over here, in between the trees, I don't know how well you can see them. Off this way is the big Rowans that going to be, the balds, I should say, in the Rowan Highlands. They're going to be hitting here soon. And off here, you can definitely see some more mountains as well. I don't know how good it shows up in between the trees. But here I stand on top of Iron Mountain in this beautiful winter wonderland. and Iron Mountain is in the bag.